I love to cook at home. Having good kitchenware makes all the difference in the world. Not only does good equipment make prep and cooking easier, but it makes it more enjoyable. That's why I'm a huge fan of Made In Cookware. Their wide range of products are designed to be professional quality, but for you right in your home. I have over a dozen pieces from Made In, including pots, pans, a pizza steel, knives, and even beer glasses. Yeah, they have glassware too. They have it all. Take your home cooking to the next level by upgrading your cookware by going to unitedwedrink.com/madein. Find out why pros like Sean Brock, Nancy Silverton, and Eric Repair trust Made In. Go to unitedwedrink.com/madein, that's MADEIN, and upgrade your kitchen and cooking today. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, co-workers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour? More like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another new episode of the United We Drink podcast, right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever is hosting podcasts anymore. My name is Mike Urevich. I'm not a robot.
I said AI, but
yeah,
it's the same.
Exactly
That's
what a
robot.
That's what a robot would say.
That's exactly what a robot would say.
You have to tell me. If I ask you if you're a robot, you have to tell the truth, robot.
Otherwise, it's entrapment. What are you, a cop?
I said that on last episode too.
Did you?
Or that might not have made the cut. But hey, we're here. We're doing podcasting stuff. With me, as always, is Kevin Abbott and Tim Johnson.
Hello, guys.
How are we doing?
We're alive.
I'm 2 beers in before the this episode has started. It's the kind of night it's going to be for me, and that's where we are.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say this is all good because we're all for the topic we've chosen. We're all getting jolly. Is that the word I want to say? I think we're jolly.
We're getting fucking festive. So. Let's do this. Kevin, you're going to tell us what you are drinking, but what you have also already drank.
Good idea. So I've drank 2 Barrel of Monks beers, a Waypoint IPA, and our Single in the Sun Belgian Blonde. I just opened up a Celebration. Thank you, Mike, for reminding me that beer was out. I have to say it every year. One of the best fucking beers in the world. So I have that. And I mean, I'm not going to drink all these, but I have like 6 backup beers just in case, what I'm feeling frisky with. I've got a Erdinger Dunkelweizen. I've got a Black Butte. I've got a couple other things in there too. But I'm well prepared for this episode.
Where's Erdinger out of?
Germany.
I would say.
I know,
I would
but
say
where in Germany?
Erdinger.
Erdinger is where it's from?
I have no idea. Why would I know this?
I don't know.
We know already that Kevin's not good at the history of beer.
Oh, that's true.
No, I'm not good at much in my own defense.
Oh, God.
They've been a private brewery since 1886.
Okay.
And they are from
Erding.
Someplace in Germany.
It is Erding.
Is it?
Germany,
Is
yes.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't know.
I was pretty close. Guys,
Yeah.
By the way, pretty damn close.
That's true. That's true.
I had a couple IPAs at a local brewery with my friend for lunch earlier today, and I am drinking a St. Bernardus Christmas Ale out of a can.
Ooh.
First time I've ever had it from a can, but I do have the proper glassware for it as well, the big giant
Nice
chalice. I remember now as drinking this, like how amazing of a beer this is as well.
Does it taste like defeat because they had to go to a can? I think my partner Bill McPhee still is weeping about that beer being in a can.
I had posted about the same. I think I pretty much said the same thing that I texted you guys about, like, who would have thought that like these two brands would be in this format 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then someone said something about like we're in the future, and I was like, I kind of get a kick out of knowing that there are some beer boomers who are really pissed off about this beer being in a can. And then I was like, oh, that's probably all of the partners of Barrel of Monks.
Yes, that's just them.
Sure, but I mean, you remember 10, 15 years ago when people got pissed off about any beer being in a can that wasn't like a macro, right? When craft switched to cans, which, by the way, to me was probably one of the most pivotal things to happen in the craft brewing industry to make it explode as much as it did 15 years ago, because of the portability, because of the accessibility. But there were a lot of people that got up in arms of like, no, craft beer is an elevated experience, and you need to have it in a, from a glass bottle and in a chalice, and I'm drinking mine out of a glass harmonica. So, I think, I think it is something that people are always going to be curmudgeonly about something, which that's kind of how I live my life. So it's fine.
Well, until a certain sect die. I mean, let's be positive. Until a certain age, people die, and then no one will care anymore.
The positive spin is it'll get better when people are dead.
Same thing with politics. Tim, what are you drinking?
Well, I also do have a celebration for after this, so there is that.
Nice. So
do you have celebration too, Tim?
I don't have celebration. I hadn't had this. Lupulin Brewing out in the West Metro is making some great beers, and I saw this. I hadn't heard of it. I hadn't seen it. West Coast Pills, right? This is where I was trying to put on my old man eyesight and read. Gambrinus Pilsner, Dextrin Malt, Sultana, Citra 190, Nelson Sauvin, Simcoe, Citra Cryo, Vista? Yeah, so anyway, it is interesting. I don't know how many different ways we make hobby pilsners and call them different things, but I'm enjoying it.
We're still looking for the right one, the one that's going to sell.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Cold IPA. Some people are still holding on to that one.
Yeah, that's why I go with warm pilsner.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start the opposite. You can do cold IPAs. I'm gonna do a warm pilsner.
That's a great thing to put in a can. People will really gravitate toward. Is this a warm beer?
Yes, it is. It's a room temperature beer. Also served flat and like you picked it up
yet
when you
somehow very effervescent. It's still yet effervescent.
I recently had a conversation with just a random person. I can't even identify who they were or what the context was, but they were giving me a spiel about how beer needs to be kept cold at all times. And that's like the reason why Coors Light is always cold. You have to keep it cold at all times. And that's like their thing. And I just asked them, I said, have you ever seen Coors Light like on the floor at a gas station? Like not in the cooler, like cases for sale? And they went, oh yeah, I've seen that. I'm like, so you think that beer is just undrinkable? It's like, no, I bought that. I bought that recently. I said, so that's not true, huh? Oh yeah, I guess so. It was like a real-time realization that marketing is not reality. It was wonderful. It was just through the looking glass.
At the same time, right? Like they have pasteurized that beer, and pasteurized beer does have more oxidative stability for a long-term shelf life, as well as more of a clear resistance to infection type of thing. I do get how the marketing of craft beer has told people, hey, keep this cold, keep it fresh, because most craft brewers need to keep it cold to keep it fresh.
Oh yeah, sure. But this was not a craft beer person. This was a macro person who didn't even know anything about craft beer.
Oh, so they just
mountains turn blue. Yeah. The beer is somehow the classic thing where this is years ago. where I had a conversation where a person literally told me Coors Light is colder than other beers. And I said, so you're telling me that you take a Coors Light and you take a Miller Lite and you put them in the same fridge, and that fridge is 33 degrees. In some magical way, the Coors Light will be colder. And this person, they were drunk, told me yes. Yes, that beer will be colder. And then I walked away.
In my defense, I didn't know a whole lot about physics at the time.
I just imagined that conversation like from the old Zach Galifianakis stand-up, the forgetful vegan. This is some good pepperoni pizza. Oh fuck! Like you just like it completely just blew his mind right at that moment.
Well, and you also had the pretentious illiterate. Actually, I can't read.
One of my favorites. I'm glad that we mostly turned this into like not obscure, but like obscure-ish comedy bits that most people won't necessarily remember, but we're all gonna throw them out there anyway.
I mean, I already caught the Mitch Hedberg reference earlier, so let's just keep the good times rolling. I don't remember if we caught on tape the Stephen Wright reference that before I did the intro, but it's true. like oh man, all of my favorite one-liner comedians have come up in this. All we need is a Dimitri Martin reference at some point, and we're good.
This summer, I learned there's a difference between peeing in the pool and peeing into the pool. Location.
So the point of this episode was to talk about being thankful because it's coming out the day before Thanksgiving, and we felt like this is one of our last 2 episodes for the year. We're gonna do a Christmas themed episode after this, and then take off for the rest of 2024. But we wanted to be fucking positive, right? That was the goal.
That's all we drink. All 3 of us drank before we got on here.
Desperately trying to be positive.
Yep. Because I feel like I'm more positive when I drink. Yes, I am.
I actually am. It's one of my more charming traits is that I tend to be less angry and like people more. And that's how I justify drinking so much, quite honestly.
That's because you don't talk as much the more you get drunk. You become more nonverbal the more you drink.
No, that's when I get high. And we've seen that on this show when I got stoned out of my mind off of those cocktails or the margaritas or the THC drinks and got to the point where I could no longer form sentences.
I have seen it off of just booze before when you and I were riding out a hurricane.
In fairness, I drank like 14 beers. So, I mean, when you get to a certain point, yes, I do become nonverbal, which is what everyone actually really wants.
That is because you are your body is literally shutting down and you are passing out. Slowly passing out.
Slowly dying, really. It's just it's a slow dying and then a miraculous recovery the next morning.
I mean, all of life is slowly dying.
Yes, living is slow dying.
So
what are we thankful for?
What are we thankful? I'm thankful for slow dying. I'm glad it's slow enough.
Right, slow enough.
At some point, I will be able to experience the sweet relief of death. So at least I have that to look forward to.
I like slow. I like slow dying. I like slow gin. I like
slow jams.
Yeah. I was just about to make a really awful pun, but if I could do that, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, let's not get
you know what,
canceled
guys?
this early in the episode.
You both are here. We're talking about being thankful, and I just want to say that I am thankful for this glass of beer in my hands, and that is it's a fantastic beer, this Saint Bernardus, and I'm thankful for you guys. But
You didn't commit to the bit. You didn't commit. You made a hard left turn. You should have kept going down.
I know, man. Just quit worrying about our.
That's why they call me Mike Hard Left Urevich.
So I don't even have a comment after that.
All right, I'm gonna jump in, and we have to at some point. No, actually, we don't have to do anything. That's the beauty about this podcast and the podcast thing in general. We can just do whatever the hell we want, and the people will listen or they won't. I think there's something very democratic in that. But I will say something that I am thankful for. It's that every craft brewery in the country has not closed yet. You notice I said yet, but it hasn't happened yet. So I have at least one more year-ish of having a job. I think that's good. I'm very thankful for that.
That is the most backhanded positivity comment I've ever heard.
Yeah, well,
I think we could get more backhanded if we really wanted to.
Yeah. It's like that super passive-aggressive, the whole John Mulaney bit about how women can't do a Ocean's 11 because they just say passive-aggressive things like, I love how you just wear anything.
Didn't they do a women's Ocean's 11?
Well, they did after he made that joke. I think it was mostly.
It was after that?
In response to that joke? Like they made a whole movie because of that joke? That's a great
Hollywood
joke.
was like, we're going to make... This guy's had enough problems already. Let's just rub this one in on him.
Well, they did it before he had to go to rehab. I think it's
it was before?
Coke. Yeah, I think that's why he started doing Coke again. Yeah.
There's some really interesting conspiracy theories going on right here.
By the way, John, if you're listening, I apologize. I don't mean to make fun of you because I know that you're probably, if the one thing a recovering addict is doing is listening to three jackasses talk about beer. But anyway, I'm sure this will get back to him somehow.
I've been told that there's at least 600 degrees of separation between this show and him.
I like that it would be him specifically. Like a random person walked up to you on the street and said that. It's like how I want to picture it.
I always wanted to have a bacon number of under 5. And I technically do, but the film that I was in is not on IMDb, and I need someone to put it on IMDb so that I can have a bacon number of under 5.
Is it legal to put that film on IMDb?
It's not that. It was a student film. Settle down.
I'm just asking.
You can put adult films on there.
I'm just asking questions.
It's not.
I'm just asking the questions that people want to know.
It's not like a snuff.
And the ones they don't.
No. So, my friend of mine from college played Grover Nordquist in Veep. And so that's got to be 1 or 2 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. And he and I did a student film together. So let's find a way to put that up on IMDb so I can have an official Bacon number. That's all I'm saying.
Is it like Wikipedia? Like anyone can do it? Or do you have IMDb? To be like a... Yeah.
I don't know. I think you have to be somehow associated. Although with this, I bet you could just freaking lie and get it on there.
Okay, so one of our listeners knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone that can put this up on IMDb. So
yeah, I've got the VHS right over there. I'm not kidding. You think I'm joking?
Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to get the VHS to show us what you can't see because this is what podcasts are about.
And for those of you who don't know what a VHS is, it stands for something that I'm not really sure about. And it goes into a machine that is sort of like a DVD player, which you still probably don't know about. And it plays a movie.
Oh, come on. You really think our audience is that young? Our most popular listener is Kevin's dad.
and I'm sure that my dad still has some VHS tapes in the house.
Tim, how old is Eric Held?
Eric Held? I mean, he's younger than all of us.
He seems early 30s to me.
No, he's not that young. I should know this.
Well, he has a very young face. You're welcome, Eric.
He is. Yes, he is a very attractive man. I don't remember exactly how old, but he knows. I mean,
you're just trying to get his dog.
I am trying to get his dog. I love his dog, and I will steal his dog. Maple is the greatest thing ever. And I love to snuggle her. I gotta get stairs for her so she can hop in my bed. She can't fit up there. She can't get up there unless I lift her up.
I love the real-time realization of taking someone's dog and how it would practically fit into your life. I think that's great.
Oh, trust me. It's not the first time I've thought about stealing his dog, and I've told him that. But he also has like the largest vinyl collection I've known of anyone. I helped the man move into his place. Then the number of crates and boxes of vinyl that I carried up to his place. It's only like the second floor, but it was still just it's a lot of records to carry up and down. Well, I guess not down, but carry up over and over and over again.
You brought him up and then took him right back down to the curb.
Well, because I was like, "What the fuck is this? This apartment isn't big enough for all this shit. What are you gonna do with them?"
He looks at Tim. He's like, "I didn't like the way you brought those up. Take them back down and bring them up with more respect in your face,
with more gusto."
He would. I tell you what, that man might be the world's largest asshole, which is not true in any way, shape, or form. That man sends me the most kind, life-affirming text messages ever. So I'm so glad I get to denigrate him in a public forum. Okay, hey, there's something I'm thankful for. I am thankful for Eric Hild.
I was just about to say, I was like, hey, this kind of works.
Yeah, in real time, you figured that out. That's great.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding though. Like I have told him this. I think he knows this. I hope he knows this. I have told him how much I'm grateful for him. But one of my favorite things that has come out of the brewing industry, right? So you guys know my history. I've worked in like a billion different industries before brewing. One of my all-time favorite things about the brewing industry is the lifelong friends I've made, like with you guys, right? I mean, Mike and I probably talk daily, at least 3 times a day. But like Eric and I are really good friends, and we have all these other conversations, and he might be the most supportive. You know, when I'm feeling down, he's the very first one to like remind me what is good about me type of things. Like he is one of those people that, you know, he's always embraced anyone who's ever come into my life. He's embraced anyone I brought into his life. His friends have embraced me. Like literally, I have friends through him that sometimes we text even without Eric. Like that's how awesome that is. It's been great. Like that man is just, how can you not love him? And so I'm very grateful for him. And then just in general, the brewing industry, I'm grateful that I have lifelong friends because of that.
You know, it's this industry, like for all the bads, and there's a lot of bads. There's a ton of great stuff about it, and I mean, like, yeah, you guys, I would probably still be pretty good friends with Kevin if it weren't for like actually working in the beer industry, because I wasn't working in the beer industry when I met Kevin. Like Kevin, like pretty much was. I don't remember if you guys were brewing yet at Buddha, but I mean, we met because of beer at a beer bar.
We met, by the way, before I even worked at Funky Buddha. Oh, I met you when I was still working.
Okay, you weren't even at Buddha yet. I thought you might have just been bartending there.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, we didn't even meet through beers, but or through the brewing industry, should I say? We definitely met through beers. But like I've met some great people through beer, through the beer industry, and I've learned a hell of a lot through it. I've learned a lot about myself and what I like, and it seems sometimes a give and take with my internal self on whether I feel like I'm good enough in the industry. But I mean, if there is one thing that I'm truly thankful for is even the shitty people who treated me awful, like you have helped me gain my worth and my sense of worth in myself. So I am thankful for that. Hey, there's a backhanded thankfulness.
I was just gonna say you're welcome.
Right on.
Thanks, Kev. But yeah, the fact that I can go into some places like, and I don't like to throw my weight around, but like the fact that I can go into a place that I really like, and I know someone in there, I can just like shake a hand, say, "Hey, how's it going? How's your family? Blah blah blah. Have a beer." And that's kind of a nice thing to just walk into I don't even want a discount. I just want to, I guess, see someone who I know and maybe make their day a little better by being like, "Hey, this guy that I know came in. He had a beer." And I'm glad that I have some people in the industry still that I can do that with. But yeah, so for that, I am thankful for this industry.
Yeah. The other day I was having a rough day and I needed to like make a rough phone call and I was at a brewery. And it's noisy and there's things going on and so I just mentioned to who I know was kind of the lead on duty and said, "Hey, I'm gonna just go in back, past the employees only, past this interest, and just be on the phone for a while." She's like, "Yeah, I don't care. You know that, Tim. Just go back there." And like I appreciate that it is like you said, it's not about the free beer. It's just like the camaraderie of just like you're one of us.
There's something very interesting about people who have been in this industry for a while and who you have engaged with. It's almost like we've all, and this is a terrible analogy, but screw it. It's like we're in the trenches, right? We know what everyone's been through. We know the ups and downs. People have gone from brewery to brewery. They're a sales rep for a distributor and then a supplier and back to a distributor. And every now and then you run into them and you have like kind of a knowing glance or even a passive, somewhat superficial conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something charming about that because you have that experience that they have. And I imagine that there's a lot of other industries that are like that. But this is the first time in my life, other than the restaurant industry, which is so transient and so crazy. I've never felt it that same way. But we're going to celebrate 10 years I've been at Barrel of Monks for 10 years. And I've been in the industry overall for over 15. And being this far into it, there is that sense of camaraderie with certain people, or even when I just did a Gold Coast Distributing does this awesome event every year where they like rent this extreme action park in like Fort Lauderdale for all their employees. It's like 1,000 people running around
right down the street from their warehouse.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've been there before. It's fucking awesome.
No, it's cool. There's go-karts. Yeah. There's so many things. It's the extreme action park. There's lots of things to do there, and there are like 1,000 people there, and I'm just like making eye contact with people like across like the skee ball game, and just giving like a knowing nod, like, "Hey man, I notice you. How you doing?" It doesn't have to be anything more than that, but these are some people that I've been seeing for 15 years, and it's a cool thing.
So I remember one time on Twitter, like, I don't know, probably 8-9 years ago. I haven't been on Twitter for over a year and whatever, but I remember somebody was shit talking Jeremy Danner and about how he was a wannabe brewer or whatever, and Garrett Oliver of all people chimed in and was like, "He's brewed beer," and amongst brewers, like once a brewer, always a brewer type of thing. Which was like a weird kind of like out of nowhere type of thing. But and to me, like I remember, I don't know why it stuck out to me so much, but it was like, holy shit, that is actually kind of like the community that we have here, right? Like, I haven't been a brewer for a year and a half, and people still don't treat me like it's anything different. I still go in there, people still ask me questions, where I still go in, like it is sort of that, like, once you're in the industry, even though I'm only tangentially touching it, although we'll get to that in a second, there is that kind of that knowing thing. And yes, it is just like war, Kevin. What a great analogy. It's just like
bringing
being
it all
bombed
back
in World War II.
Yeah, same thing.
But
that's exactly what I'm saying. I want everyone to record that and hold me to this for the rest of my life, please.
This is like when Kevin Garnett got a whole lot of beef over like talking about like going to war for a playoff game.
Was that Kevin Garnett?
Yeah, that was Kevin Garnett when he was on the T-Wolves.
I thought that was like Kellen Winslow I thought that was Kellen Winslow Jr. that
I'm
had
sure
this whole thing about like going to war. And anyway, that was my recollection. Maybe both of them had that.
Oh, I'm sure. That's probably the one and only time anyone in the sports world has exaggerated the
Thank you.
equivalence. Yeah.
That's a really
It was
important.
Kevin Garnett talking about bringing going to war for Game 7, bringing weapons of like
We brought weapons of mass destruction, and
I mean, we had like Charles Sprewell talking about how he's got to feed his family. So
I
and he
fucking
also
love
choked
Latrell
PJ Carlissimo.
Sprewell.
So I
he
mean,
did, yeah,
that's kind of war.
yeah, right.
Take that, PJ.
Real quick, you mentioned Garrett Oliver just like popping in from out of nowhere. I feel like he has like a really good like
Spidey
cue on
sense.
doing that because he's done it to me before.
Yeah.
Like when I like got my first job in the industry and I made a post about it, Garrett Oliver replied to my post out of nowhere. Like I have no idea how he fucking saw it, but
Like
he
an
was just
RKO.
like, it was just like, congratulations, welcome to. Like it wasn't like welcome to the brotherhood per se, but it was just like welcome to the industry. Like
It's brotherhood's a terrible word because it's
yes,
so
it is,
sexist.
especially with the sexist issues we've had in this industry.
But at the same time, it is like, I've worked a lot of other industries. This is the camaraderie. I mean, dude, I've never met either of you in person, and we don't act like we haven't done that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we've got so many things to bond over, and it's just a different. So kitchens are the same way, right? If you ever worked in a kitchen, there's an immediately. Who's surprisingly weird like this? Welders. I know welders like really like they're like, oh, we're a very niche type of thing, and they are. Like I've done welding before. I've done arc welding. I've done TIG welding. I've done other welding, but not professionally. But they all like. I was out at a bar once, and there were like these two guys that were welders, and they didn't know each other, and they got talking about welding. And my God, it's like as annoying. And I finally went, oh, that's what me and someone else talking about beer sound like. Oh, that's why everyone hates us. I
am sure that you are correct in saying that because any like insular community of people that have similar experiences are going to have this kind of camaraderie. But like throwing out welders, I was thinking, yeah, it's the same thing. Longshoremen. I mean, we can just talk about any.
Sure, but I think you know what it's like. You could be
trade.
You could be in marketing, and people are like, yeah, you're in marketing, right? Or like I'm in project management, and people go,
well, because no one's actually in marketing that says that they're in marketing. Everyone's in marketing.
Well, for sure, but even
some just more so than others.
Just even just like two IT nerds don't even spend that much time talking about IT, mostly just because they don't know how to talk to anyone else. But it's like there are some of these niche things where I think it's when you.
I'm thankful for marketing, by the way.
That's just what they want you to believe, Mike.
I just had to get something in there to keep the theme going. People are starting to tune out.
Marketing just has really, really good marketing, so that's what happens.
The best, Jerry.
No, the most mediocre, but a lot of it. That's my experience with marketing.
That's very meta, which is why Facebook turned its name into Meta, because it's all about marketing.
You need more leads at your business? Because I know a person who can help you, and that person's me. Would you like to set up a call?
Marketing. Are you just marketing your own services? Has this just become an Employ Mike Urevich podcast?
I don't know what leads means to my fucking industry. I want to reply to those, and I should fucking reply to those things. Like, can we help you with some leads for your business? Like, what is a lead for my fucking business? In a 3-tier fucking government regulated industry. Like, you tell me, fucking guy, without getting on a call. I am not getting on a call.
Oh, I troll these people all the time. I've been on multiple calls with people just because they would not leave me alone, just so I could basically tell them what I thought about them. It felt very good for me. It meant nothing for them. They just called one of the 5,000 other breweries that was on their call list. But for 30 seconds, I felt great.
So
you
I
keep adding
remember
those 30 seconds up, and you're at like a good 25 minutes worth of your life that you're feeling good right now.
By the way, we're talking about things that we're like thankful for. And I think we could call this episode For 30 Seconds I Felt Great, because that is the things that I'm thankful for. For 30 seconds, I just feel amazing.
I'm enjoying this. I'm thankful for this podcast. It gives me an excuse to, and not even like you guys necessarily. I mean, I am thankful for you guys. That sounded very backhanded.
No, go with it.
It's one of us.
It's a theme.
But not just you guys. Like, I'm thankful for an outlet. Maybe that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes
I do.
Right? Like, I've been upset. Like, I've been feeling like a failure at work recently. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Even when I'm not working from home, I'm thinking about work and all of this. I was so excited about tonight because it meant, you know what? I get to talk about anything but. Now, I have a couple things about work I do want to talk about, but they're good things. It's not about me being a failure. It's about, some other good things. But it is nice to be able to have something that is different, because I think about so many people that don't have a separate outlet, right? I don't need anyone to listen to this podcast necessarily. Sometimes I hope my family doesn't, frankly. But
you're in luck. No one does.
your family does. I still read your. I never look up our podcast on YouTube unless I'm like, I wonder what Kevin's dad had to say.
You should every other Thursday, sometimes Fridays. You should just always go to the episode on YouTube and read the comments, because it's all Kevin's dad responding in real time. Like, it's fucking awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. I know, because like he said, like last week or 2 weeks ago, he had the comment of good point, Tim, and I want to be like, thanks. I have no idea what you're referring to. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was a very good point.
I think he meant everything you said. That entire see that's a very affirming kind of thing. Listen, one of the things that I'm a very lucky man. My father has been very, very affirming in my life, and very, very positive and very supportive. He's just giving you that as well.
Oh no, I cannot wait to finally meet the man, because he does make me feel like I know what I'm talking about, and he does. I think, I am the son he never had. But no, it is fun. So yes, we do have a listener, but even if Kevin's dad were the only one to listen to it, man, just to be able to get this break and do something different, and to do what if we could get paid to do this, I'd work 24/7.
Yeah, any podcast network, like The Onion. Do you need someone to fill some space on the new InfoWars site?
I'm game.
We'll take an hour a week to do craft beer conspiracy theory podcast. With our tongue in cheek.
We'll do whatever it is that we're currently doing, and we're not sure what it is, but I think it will work with the concept.
Absolutely.
We can pump fucking those pills and prep kits that don't exist and shit too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Colloidal silver. Never mind that you'll probably go completely brain dead from it. But yeah, we can do that. There needs to be more colloidal silver in beer. That's what I'm gonna say.
Did you see either of you see the list of domain names that they acquired along with InfoWars?
No.
There is goblinlove.com. Whatever that means. Like, that's the one that like people were like, holy fuck, like what the fuck does this mean?
So I have to say that
I would love that domain name, please.
So recently, we've come to a point in our brewery where I'm pretty sure no one gives a shit anymore, because I've been trying to name a beer, a new saison that we did, and no one just responds to emails. No, everyone's just passing the buck. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. Back in the day, everybody wanted to have their voice on everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Like, and they'd fight tooth and nail over the most minute details. And this is just the 10-year-old brewery, and no one gives a shit. But that's how
I'd love where you're at right now.
So in other words, the next Blizzard series is going to be Goblin Love?
No, but what I was saying is that Goblin Love...
Love Saison has a nice ring to it.
Goblin Love Saison. That's the name. This is why we need to talk more often.
No, I like it. At one point in Badger Hill, we got so sick of naming beers that we started just using on the internet, using one of those like random word generators. And so like, guess the next name is Blast Eagle. That's what we're gonna
do.
That's another great name.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a really great name, by the way.
So
at my first brewery, this was right towards the end of both Joel and I's time there. But we made an IPA, and this was like while hazies were becoming a thing. This beer was not a hazy, but Joel was like, man, all of these beers that nowadays, they're just naming something with an animal, like Stegosaurus pants. And I was like, that's what the name of the next IPA should be. And he's like, okay, let's see if boss will say okay to it. And he's like, you want to name the beer he's like, yeah. He's like, all right, what the fuck ever. So we had Stegosaurus Pants IPA.
I would have respected him so much more if he would have said, listen, I'll do Velocisaurus pants, but I'm not going to do freaking Stegosaurus pants. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
I care way too much about Brachycephalosaurus to not. Right? Like Parasaurolophus pants. Now that has a ring to it.
Right.
Yeah, if you want to get into nerd dinosaur talk, I'm basically the 8-year-old boy still into dinosaurs.
I can get my son up right now. We can have
Dinosaur pantaloons.
Parasaurolophus pantaloons. I like that. Well, because like I named a beer. There's always money in the banana stand. And when we put it into cans, they shortened it to banana stand. And I was like, no, damn it. I want it to have the world's longest name. There's always money in the banana stand.
And that's the actual reference, which is what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Cigar City did a Hefeweizen called "There's Always Money in the Banana Stand" too.
Well, I beat them to it. I'm going to bet. I'm putting it down that I did. They stole. I'm just gonna put that on record right now. Cigar City stole that idea from me.
What about Garrett Oliver?
I wanted to do it, and then I looked it up and I saw that one.
There's a brewery here in town that named a beer Terror Bear, which I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Like it's like it's like the rural juror from 30.
The rural juror.
He's like, what's that called? A turbo?
What about Bob Loblaw's Loblog?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be perfect.
I can't believe I said that.
You did. That was good,
take.
Mike. You did that really well.
I am impressed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's the highlight. That's the highlight of the show. Actually, just pronouncing that at your state.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
How the fuck did we even get onto this?
It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Some big fucking brontosaurus. It doesn't.
I did a Eugene Merman one. There's another one-liner comedian of.
Well, I just threw it into John Mulaney right there. So yeah.
I'm thankful for in this industry that I've been able to expand my skill set in some weird fucking way. Like the fact that I've learned so much, not just about brewing, but like I know how to do fucking taxes on a federal and a state level. Like that's stuff that I never intended on wanting to learn how to do, but I fucking did. And I've done it at multiple breweries now. And it is allowed me to take a somewhat passion of graphic design, and like graphic design is my passion, and turn it into a little bit of a living. Like the fact that I can do enough with it to that my stuff has been on printed labels. It has been on like in print before. Like stuff has passed state lines with my designs on it. Like it's kind of crazy, and that has then turned into photography, and that is like my number one art passion now. I'm thankful that like the brewing world has allowed me to do that, to learn new things and expand my skill sets. Whether or not that translate over to the real world, I don't fucking know, and I probably doubt it. But you know what? There's that.
No, I do think it does translate, and I think you always sell yourself short on that. But I do also appreciate what you're saying. But like, there's a part of you that, like you said, like you don't get across state lines, you don't get to be within 100 yards of a schoolyard, but at least part of you does get to do that by putting your product out in the world. And so I think that's incredible.
It took me a second there on that one. I was like, wait. I'm allowed to cross the. Oh,
that was seamless. No, I think we've all done that. I mean, it's. I think it's one of the, in some ways, bullshit lines that are fed to people in the brewing industry. Like, oh, you're going to learn this skill set, and it's going to make you more of a viable employee down the line, and you're going to learn something. I think a lot of people monopolize that idea because that's a way to get people on board, but there is truth to it. I mean, the amount of things that I've learned. I was having a conversation with somebody that from a t-shirt company, and they proposed something to us. It's a really cut and dry, very simple transaction. It's a good idea. We're going to do it. That we're going to be featured in their t-shirt box going forward. But I found myself in this 30-minute conversation asking all the right questions about every aspect of this to maximize what we were going to get out of it, and feeling very competent in my role. And I've been a person who's had a lot of imposter syndrome over my life, and going, oh shit, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying that in like a very like braggadocious way, because I mean, I believe humility is a very important part of who I am. I know I make a lot of bad decisions, wrong decisions, what have you. I certainly am not the most intelligent person or the best person in any way, shape, or form for the position I'm in. But I've learned so much. And yes, if it transitioned, over the next 20 years, whether it's Barrel of Monks or go on to start another brewery or work at another brewery, what have you, that would be valuable. But a lot of those things transition to different things too, within any business or just practical life. It is something that I think I've learned to appreciate over the last 10 years more than ever.
So what you were talking about, like how it comes up in other aspects. So last week I was in Dallas, visiting the Middleby Innovation Kitchen, which is amazing. They have all of these chefs demonstrating all of this equipment. It's like this giant facility. But Middleby, back into 2021 or something like that, I didn't realize they bought both SS Brewtech and Deutsche. And I have a bunch of like SS Brewtech stuff that I've worked with, and I've brewed on a Deutsche system. So it was fun, even though no one else that I work with really gives a shit about like brewing stuff, right? Because we do commercial kitchens, we do bars, right? I would say that. So our company came from beer and turned away more into commercial kitchens, and I would like to bring in a lot more of that beer aspect and that knowledge that I have with all of that. But it was kind of fun to see that kind of come back to, oh shit, I could tell you exactly, like I could hop on that brew deck right now and do it, but like I would be good at being able to explain to that. And so it was fun to see that even though I'm only tangentially related, it did come back to a point where one of my biggest struggles with my job right now is that I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, and I never felt as much like I never felt at sea in beer, because I felt like I knew what I was doing. Like you could pick me up and drop me off in a brewery tomorrow, and I would feel more comfortable and confident.
Well, so much of that is just time, right? The more time you spend on anything, you learn it. And you don't have to be the most competent person. You don't have to be the most motivated person. But if you're immersed in something for long enough, you get it. You know what you're doing.
Oh, I'm
And
neither
that's
confident nor motivated. So yeah. So yeah,
but
the competence is not. Yeah, but yeah,
but then you just I think it's something that's underrated in what we do on a daily basis is that anything we start new, there's a long learning curve of understanding what that thing is. And talking about kids, right? My son is upset because he's good at math, but he doesn't like writing. And I have to say, well, this is the thing you are not confident in. So we need to do more of it. We need to practice it and work on it. And eventually you're going to have this down to the point where this is boring, quote unquote, just like your math because you got it. And that breaking point, we never know where it is. Like it just sucks and it sucks and it sucks and it sucks. And then it's like, oh shit, this is just old hat. I just get this now.
I
And it's just that repetition.
I thought you were gonna when you said speaking of kids, I thought you meant raising them because in the last 9.5 years, that has not been enough time for me to know what the fuck I'm doing. Let's be honest there.
Wait till they're 27 and then you know what you
Oh God! As much as I blame my parents for what's wrong with me, I don't think you ever know. Uh, um, yeah, no, it is fun to see like there is when you can develop a level of competency, and that's something about like this brewing industry that's been nice, but also it's like the amount that people want to see you succeed in brewing is, I think, unparalleled compared to a lot of other places. Like I'm not saying that it's all lovey-dovey. We're all getting along, and I'm not saying that the places are so cutthroat. But first of all, I've never known, right? Like I worked in consumer electronics, I worked in IT, or I worked in Buffalo Wild Wings. I worked all these different places, at cognitive neuroscience lab, and I've never seen anyone or any industry where shit, the amount of brewers who still ask me questions today about things, or even in my job, I'm not doing a whole lot in the brewing world, but there might still be something that has a crossover, and I'm like, hey, do you remember when X, Y, and Z, type of thing? Like the way that works out is more than I've seen before or after. Uh, it is something that is unique, I think. I'm sure it happens in some other industries, but I'm sure I can't imagine teachers get competitive when they're comparing like lesson plans. Uh, but but it does seem like in a lot of the places people are like so afraid to talk about things. It's kind of amazing to me.
Yeah, like I know from, I mean, I haven't been in very many industries. It was like restaurants, IT, brewing, and that's basically it. Um, Strangely enough, like in the IT field, when I was there was like some somewhat collaboration that like borderlined on like poaching, but like my boss knew a lot of people who worked for other. I was in web hosting, and we knew a bunch of people who worked in other web hosting companies. Like, strangely enough, a lot of web hosting companies in Boca Raton, at least with offices. So it was like we
Tax
could
shelters?
ask some people for questions about stuff, and we had people who worked for multiple different companies, and knowing like, oh, how did they deal with this? Like, there's some of that going on. And restaurants, I feel like depends on where in the house. Front of the house people, they fucking all talk. Like servers collaborate over drinks like every fucking night. With other
sure, but
servers.
but I don't know that that's necessarily encouraged by like management. Whereas
Yes,
brewing,
that's true.
Whereas in brewing, I feel like that's actively encouraged by management, if not facilitated by management.
and it also doesn't cross companies as much. You know what I mean? Where you
Yeah.
find that kind of symbiotic relationship with other people and other companies, where you're kind of helping out and they're asking you questions and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I've rarely seen times where like I know a ton of people who work back of house in kitchens, and I rarely seen a time where like someone's been like, "Oh, you work at that kitchen over there? Why don't you come back and see what we're doing back here?" Right? As much as that does it in the brewing industry.
That's true. Most of
No.
them are, though, usually working when
Oh,
those people
for
are
sure.
working.
But even on like I go out to lunch all the time. There aren't some of the restaurants I go. There's no lunch rush, right? They're still not
No,
inviting
not
people back to
anymore.
look at kitchen equipment.
No, I think I think part of that is that the nature of us as brewers is kind of a solitary bunch. I'm not talking about like massive breweries that have, tons of people working in there and they got 6 cellar people and,
Yeah.
a head brewer and 7 shift brewers or what have you. I think a lot of people, at least in, the breweries that we're talking about and breweries that we've worked at, are like, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 people working in a place, and someone comes in and you want to show them around. Like, you want to engage with them. You want to share stories. You want to, just understand. You want to show them what you're doing and have a connection, because there's not as much of that
Mm-hmm.
in what we're doing on an everyday basis. And in general, I do say this, and I am, on a daily basis relatively negative about this and the whole like rising tide raises all boats and what have you. But that's when you're talking about marketing, and that's when you're talking about, operations and things of that nature. Anyone that's a brewer that comes into my brewery, I just want to talk to them. I just want to say, "Hey, Ralph, this person's in here. Show them around." Like, it doesn't happen very often, but I enjoy that because there does feel like a shared experience that is unique to us that we don't get to share with others very often.
For sure. For sure.
Because at a restaurant in a given town, there are 500 restaurants. In a
Mm-hmm.
given town, there are 3 breweries.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a much smaller community. It's a smaller fraternity, and it's rarer to engage with them.
Yeah, but it's also insane to me. Like the times I've gone, like I remember, as a brewer, I was down my ex-wife. I went to a conference with her in Orlando, and I popped into some breweries there, and got talking to someone there or whatever, and not like I was going around saying, "Hey, I'm a brewer, give me things," type of thing. But like, came out, "Oh, so what do you do?"
Yeah, you
And,
were. Yeah, you
well,
were.
yeah,
I get you.
I was.
Yeah.
That's typically what I do. Is I'm like, "Hey, I'm a brewer, give me
You
things."
you you had a T-shirt actually made up. I
That
said,
said,
"I'm a
"I'm a
brewer.
brewer."
Give me things."
I
Uh,
literally last night I
By the
had
way,
to
on
like.
sale now at unitedwedrink.com. Go ahead.
Last night I literally had to be like, "Can you just charge me something so I could tip everyone, please?" So my bill was like some weird like 513, and I'm like, none of that tax makes sense. Like that math doesn't work out. But anyway, like just get talking, and they're like, "Oh, okay." And then like, "Well, hey, do you want to like?" They started, like, "Do you want to go take this?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm fine. I don't want to interrupt you or whatever type of thing." But it sometimes those things just come out, right? And the way that even just not in that community of Orlando. It's not like I wanted to build relationships to do some weird Minneapolis Orlando collab or anything like that. Not that would be a bad thing. It just wouldn't make sense.
It feels icky for you to do anything with Florida. We get it. We understand what you're trying to say.
meant it doesn't make sense. Yeah, what's going to be the connection between Minneapolis and Orlando? You're right now. You're even struggling to figure out an athlete that has played like for both the Timberwolves and
No, I was
the-
actually trying to find some Disney connection, but like I don't know anything.
We're the Metro Charles Schultz. That's yeah, you can forget that. But no, my point is that it's not just a local type of like community. It's literally like this this multi-state or like national or even international type of connection type of thing that happens, which is kind of fun, right? Like there's still, again, we need a better word than fraternity. What's the least offensive way to say fraternity? But you know what we mean. Like we're an Elks Lodge,
community really is the thing that hits the head.
Yeah, but community feels, I don't want to say exclusive. You know what I mean?
I feel like fraternity sounds more exclusive than community. Community, everyone in there can be a part of the community. There's no prerequisite other than that you are here. Where fraternity is like, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to be this, you have to be that to be a part of a fraternity. Community just means you're there. And whether or not you want to be involved in it is up to you.
Third chance. I propose gaggle. I think it's a gaggle of brewers. A gaggle.
Is that the collective noun?
Yeah, it's a gaggle.
Okay. At least we didn't go with a murder or murder.
Murder's better.
God damn it! I was gonna do that as my follow-up. You bastard! Stepping on my line.
Here's a good one. Hear me out here.
Okay.
A Vorloff of brewers.
Oh God.
That let it sink in.
No, that means a lot to me because there's a
running story with it.
There's a running joke with Mike and I and people that know my history in brewing, and the fact that when I was working at Funky years and years ago, that we were hanging out with other brewers, myself, Jim Bast, who was an original owner of Funky Buddha with Ryan Sense. And one of the only brewing terms I think Ryan knew was the term Vorloff. And we were hanging out with other brewers and he kept saying Vorloff over and over again because it was one of the only technical terms. And by the way, Ryan doesn't listen to this podcast. Even if he does, this isn't all in good fun because I didn't know anything about brewing because we were just starting. And it was ridiculous what we were doing at that time. But I just, it repeated over my head. I was like, I think he said Vorloff 14 times during that conversation. And I don't think that term is justified 14 times during any conversation. So yeah, Vorloff always.
A Vorloff of brewers. No, I like it though. You know what the collective down?
I did something.
Do you know what the collective down for a group of cheetahs is, by the way?
I know I've probably heard it, but I can't think of it offhand.
No.
It's a coalition of cheetahs. Which I've always found very wonderful because I like to think of these cheetahs as
they're organized.
Yeah, I picture them sitting at a table.
Right.
Most likely a round table, so no one's sitting at the head of it because it's a coalition.
Right.
And they're a community. Oh,
and
community
we have
coalition.
some demands.
Yeah. And they're all sitting there and they don't have a specific thing they want to accomplish. They all want to just brainstorm about how we're going to get these gazelles. I think is basically how that goes.
I think Steve has some very good ideas about how to get those gazelles.
Steve.
Steve, I think we should run really fast and pounce on them. That's what you always say, Steve. That's what you always say.
You're a pouncer, Steve.
Yeah. Well, he's like, well, you know what? I chair the pouncing committee.
Subcommittee, Steve.
These are the C-SPAN jokes that everybody has been waiting for, and I'm glad that we can fulfill their dreams and desires.
We have Steve from St. Paul on the line now. How you doing, Steve? Oh, nope, we've lost him.
Oh my God! Hey, speaking of things I'm grateful for, I'm grateful that the two of you share my sense of humor, so that I get to make stupid jokes and drop side references to one-liners and all of that, and you all lean in on them. That's fantastic.
We're not a podcast that leaves the other person hanging. Okay, so
I'm glad all that happened. So
Kevin, what are you drinking now?
I am still drinking my Dunkelweizen.
Oh, really?
And
You've nursed that.
Yeah, I have. Once again, starting with 3 beers. Well, 2 beers before the show started. You gotta.
I was told there wouldn't be any math here.
Slow walk it from this point forward. But you know what? This is a style of beer that I absolutely adore, and I can't find many Dunkels down here anymore. I mean, Franziskaner Dunkelweizen used to be plentiful. I could find it all over the place. And it's just an underappreciated style. I really, really, you know what I'm thankful for? I'm thankful for this beer.
Aw. Although, were you thankful for that earlier? I don't remember.
No, the only time I chimed in with a thankful thing, it was kind of the backhanded comment to start the whole thing off. So it was my turn to jump in and say something and actually not be shitty about it. So Dunkelweizen, great style of beer. A lot of heffies are, especially American heffies, over the yeast profile takes over everything. Too much banana, too much clove, one-dimensional. This actually has roast and the malt flavor to go along with the yeast flavor. It's a brilliant beer. I don't know why these are not more prevalent.
I'm glad that I have you on recording calling Hefeweizens one-dimensional. Because I feel like they are the furthest thing from one-dimensional, but people just don't care about that anymore. It's such a unique style because of the different flavors that can come out of it from the yeast, depending on just a couple degrees in fermentation temperature.
I have to respond to that. The classic Heffies are a lot of American versions of a Heffy, either A, strip down all the flavors, and there's a lot of examples of American Hefeweizens that are not Hefeweizens. They're just American wheat beers. I didn't say that, you did. And there's that aspect of it, and there are the other ones that just let the fermentation go wild, and it's just nothing but banana and clove, and they're not attenuated properly, and they're not good beers. The classic style Hefeweizens are complex, are interesting. I just like a little more of the roasted malt and some of the extra complexity is added by the darker malt. And I think it's more interesting on the surface, even with the classic breweries.
So I'm holding here my banana stand can. You can see my name on there, listeners. You can see my name on there. Banana stand, and what I had written on here was bready wheat and slightly sweet Pilsner malt lined the walls of this ester-driven Hefeweizen. And I did try to, and the only reason I did that is because the owner at the time said banana has no place in beer, and so I decided I was going to make, just like as an FU to him, was literally just I'm going to make the most ester-driven Hefeweizen possible and name it with banana just to and it's the nice thing about this is, so this fall I took someone to the brewery, and there was my face on a die-cast tap handle. I have not worked at Badger Hill in 4.5 years, and they're still serving this beer. Like, it's the one beer that still has stuck around. It's not a year round, but it comes back
so cool.
over and over and over again. And to be able to go back in there and see that die-cast my face, die-cast on a banana on their almost no one that works there knows who I am anymore. But it was awesome to see that that's still there. But I will admit to being one of those American assholes who just tried to push it out to be more. But that was by design.
But you had a goal with that. There's a difference between trying to make a balanced Hefeweizen and trying to do something that's banana forward. Uh, I'll say this. I think what you just said really resonates with me. I don't care about legacy. I
Mhm.
really don't. One of my favorite musical pieces of all time is by an artist called The Tallest Man on Earth. And one of my favorite lines is, I plan to be forgotten when I'm gone. It means everything to me. It touches me in a way that is just, it's so important because everybody wants to be remembered. And at some point, whether you're Elvis Presley or you're Houdini, we're going to forget about you because time has passed on and that information will not pass on to the next generation, even if you're the most popular person in the world. And so that's one of my principles. It's important to me. But there is something nice, right? Not the most important thing, but something nice about having a germ of your idea go on while
Mhm.
you're not there, especially when you're around to see it. I don't really care if any of the beers or any of the influence I have go on beyond my death, but to be maybe in my 50s or 60s and go on and say, "Oh, talking to my son, maybe his son, and go
Mhm.
to a grocery store and say, "You see that Hop Gun IPA? I made the first batch of that. I helped to create that recipe, and it's not that recipe anymore. It's not been that recipe for 30
Sure.
years. But I was involved in that. I was involved in the naming of that, the concept of it. And each one of us has had that. And
Yeah.
it's one of the things I have to remind myself every day, not every day, maybe once a month when I go into work and I'm a little bit downtrodden, is that this is what we're doing. And there is something to that that is really satisfying and somewhat meaningful.
No, you're absolutely right. There was something that was like you know, I'm proud that I have a legacy, right? I mean, so it reminds me of a song by Rex in Effect, where the lyric was, "All I want to do is zoom, a zoom, zoom, zoom in your boom, boom." And I think that
Shake your
actually,
rump.
when they said check baby 1 2 3 4, check baby 1 2 3, I like that. I felt that down to the core of me.
I can see it in your eyes. I mean, you're just transfixed. This means this might be the most important part of our podcast ever. I want everyone to pay attention. Tim, the floor is yours.
I'm pretty sure that Mike is already ready to be done with this conversation.
No, my attempt at fitting a joke in there passed a long time ago, and I'm a little sore by that. But eh, it's it is what it is. But I do love the fact that Kevin goes into work once a month and is like, like I'm glad that people will forget me, but you know what? Here I am at Barrel of Monks, and people can remember Hop Gun.
Well, listen, let's talk about the more important thing that I've done in my life and the thing that no one's going to remember a wizard, Vanna. I mean, let's be realistic about what we're doing here. And by the way, Mike, what am I excited about being remembered for you? Sweet potato casserole. Because that's still being produced.
Yeah,
And you were the inspiration, Mike.
I know this. I don't think someone else does, but I don't fucking care about that. I haven't had that beer, and I maybe I'll look for it and see if how it tastes, because I know that those original batches from the lounge were very different from what's being done now.
Oh, by leaps and bounds, I'm sure.
Though, so Tim, you were mentioning Badger Hill still makes There's Always Money in the Banana Stand.
They do, yeah.
Wow.
Like no one there even knows the legacy. Like I've been meaning to talk. So I know the new head brewer there, but he and I have never talked about my time there. I don't know that he knows that the beer that he's making is my recipe. Like he and I have crossed paths through like other breweries he's worked at and stuff like that. I don't know that he knows that what he's making is my beer. And by the way, my beer, who the fuck cares? It's a Hefeweizen. That's like saying that's my pesto. But it does actually kind of adhere to the things that I was doing for like pushing the banana, not necessarily pushing the clove. Like
So
I can't hear you at all, Kevin.
I just muted myself. Go ahead.
if
Nope.
if I were to go in there, what could it cost? Like $10?
It's one banana, Michael. What can it cost?
Okay, I got the joke in. There we go. I was able to bring it back.
Yeah, no. Way to bring that back. When we
Do
first
they
launched,
do they still make Tim's Not Here, man?
no, they don't make Tim's Not Here, man. They might bring that back at some point. That was more of a one-off type of thing, but that was still one of my favorites of all time. Because I had a lot of people like they were like text message me when they posted it on social media about Tim's Not Here, man. Like, oh, is this a dig at you? What's going on? Is this a dig at you? Blah 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 blah. I was like, no, it's because sometimes people ask about me and they just say that and they turn it into a Cheech and Chong reference. And so I literally went down and recorded a video for their social media about it. So, but yeah, they did get all worried about the Tim's Not Here, man. I was never a good head brewer. What I was good at was being a face of a company.
I love this.
I gotta isolate that part.
I was never a good head brewer. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't make good beer.
No, seriously, none of that. But you know what I'm good at? I'm good at being which is very sad. If you look at this face radio, voice for silent films. But I was good as being like a spokesperson for the company. And so I could always do something like people knew who I was, even if they didn't necessarily know the beer or like the beer. I like to think that they like the beer. I like to think that I was good at that. Like I've had a couple of beers that were my recipes that have done really well. That still have a legacy. Recipes that are still being made long after I'm gone at breweries. I've left a mark, but I know I'm more personality than talent. So let's just be honest.
Okay, so we're very far off the path here. So let's get a little closer, but let's not talk about what we're thankful for, but let's talk about Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I need to know what are, besides like turkey, what are the things you absolutely need for Thanksgiving? Kevin.
There's a lot here. I need a good cranberry sauce, not a canned cranberry sauce, a good, well-made, complex, interesting cranberry sauce, which I have not been able to make for years because I have family that refuses to touch it. They just want the jellied cranberry that comes out of the can. So a good cranberry sauce is important. You don't need a lot of it, just a little bit to add some complexity to your meal. I also need mashed potatoes that have texture. There's some chunks in there. It's not just a pureed mashed potato like baby food. You need to have, and by the way, skin on red skin mashed potatoes with a ton of cream and butter and salt and pepper. That's what you need to have. Those are good mashed potatoes, not baby food mashed potatoes. Those are things that I need. I also need a corn dish. Corn is important for a Thanksgiving meal for me. Not necessarily corn on the cob, but a corn dish in some way, shape, or form. A lot of people don't use corn or won't use or don't. That's not a necessity for them. They do like the corn casserole sometimes, but those are the things that are the most important for me on a Thanksgiving meal. That honestly, I have not had a chance to have often over the last 10 years because my wife's family disagrees with all these things. So I have to insist on these things and push them into the forefront.
I remember having a conversation with you a few years ago about the ricer for the potatoes, and yeah,
the devil.
I am not a fan of that either. Yeah, I am like you. Like I'm fine if you want to take just have like a russet potato, mashed potatoes, but there needs to be like some chunks in there. But I'm with you that the red potatoes with some skins on them in there is the best mashed potatoes. I like to use sour cream in them myself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Well, and there's a difference between lumpy and chunky, right?
Yes.
Like what
Yes.
you're talking about is chunky, not lumpy.
A little
Chunky.
texture. A little
Yes.
texture.
Correct,
Here or
yeah.
there. There's a little pocket of a little texture to add to the meal. Pureed food is, in general, not that great, in my opinion, especially on a Thanksgiving.
So, Kevin, what time should I be over?
Oh, I mean, just come out. We actually have so many extra seats at the table this year because we don't have as many family members here. We're actually trying to bring more people down. So, I mean, we eat a little bit later. So come down around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
I don't like. I'm only 83% joking. Like I might literally just book a flight to come down.
Do it.
with you.
Do it. Come
He's
down.
going to text you, I am at FLL right now. Can you come pick me up?
I'm not picking you up because I got a lot of stuff to do that day. But I'll pay for your Uber. How about that?
Oh, perfect. Done. Sold. Sold. I love it. I love it.
So I'm a big I love multiple potato dishes, and I've played around with different potato dishes. Like mashed potatoes, always great. I did one year with it was sour cream, lime zest, and thyme in the mashed potatoes, and it was brilliant. Not very traditional, but it was still very good. We did a Hasselback potatoes last year. That
Matt
was
Hasselbeck? Does he make potatoes?
Yes.
I thought he was a
Yeah,
he's
quarterback.
Yes, yes.
delicious.
It
was his wife.
They're all bald. They're way past their prime.
Like the potatoes are very important, but I love Brussels sprouts. Like to me, roasted Brussels sprouts with like a balsamic glaze on them is one of my favorite things. This will come across as weird to most people because this is just kind of my family thing. We typically had rice pilaf, like homemade rice pilaf, for Thanksgiving. That first started with my dad's sister, my aunt, making it, and then my mom. Like once we moved here, my mom was making it. So that's like a very big part of our Thanksgiving is having rice pilaf. I'm a big stuffing guy myself too. My wife and I's stuffings differ very much. So we'd made hers last year. We're hosting again this year. I'm hoping to make mine this year. Hers is cornbread. Mine is regular bread, like white bread based. So there's a lot of going head to head on that. But yeah, those are the big things to me. What about you, Tim?
So corn products. Corn I'm gonna put on my mashed potatoes. Cream corn. Corn. I am a cornbread guy. Guys, I literally have a tattoo of an ear of corn on my calf. Like I'm an Iowan. Like corn matters a lot to me. I do. I didn't appreciate cranberry sauce earlier as a kid because I just had shitty cranberry sauce, right? I remember one year my mom actually made like this cranberry applesauce that was fucking bomb, and like that's where it started to turn my like head around what it can be because it was like
Cranberry with something else like that's what really opens it up.
Oh, when it was
orange,
ginger,
apples,
herbs.
or ginger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never done it. I've always thought doing spent grain cookies that are cranberry orange, like with orange zest and cranberry. I've always wanted to do it because like every time everyone gives me spent grain cookies, I want to be like, you gave me dog treats. But if you did it like something like thinner with like orange zest and cranberry in there, I would be all over that, right? But yeah, and so my mom made this like it was like sauce, apple sauce, right? Just as much as cranberry sauce is, right? So it still had like pulpy cranberry and like chunky applesauce in there. That was amazing, and that kind of changed my mind and opened it up, and it had like cinnamon and clove, and yeah, it was amazing. For me, one of the absolute staples. So my friends used to make fun of me because like we would go do like this trip out there, and I would always bring like 3 trays of like King's Hawaiian bread, and then I would eat them all like within like the first 20 minutes of being there.
Fair.
Because my grandma's buns that she's made since I'm talking. Settle down. I didn't talk about. Hey,
I only laughed because Mike laughed. I only laughed because Mike laughed.
I didn't talk about when Mike was talking about like stuffing his wife. Like that's entirely different. The
podcast has gone off the rails, ladies and gentlemen.
You just said your wife enjoyed a good stuffing. That's all. Anyway, she made these like dinner rolls that were perfect. And the thing that was about them is that they were sweet but not too sweet, moist. They're the ones that take like a really good fat slab of butter, right? You rip them open, you put that fat slab of butter on there, and you can dip it in your mashed potatoes. You can dip it in your cream corn. You can dip it on your cranberry sauce.
The gravy.
Oh, and the gravy. Oh, yeah,
gravy.
Absolutely. It's like it's like a New England biscuits and gravy. Except for it's just like turkey gravy and like a dinner roll. Like that to me is Thanksgiving more than any other holiday. Thanksgiving is I can wipe my plate up with this.
Sop it up. Sop that thing up.
Roll. To me, that is absolutely it. Even more so than like I enjoy stuffing. I hate that like so many Midwesterners put like raisins in their stuffing and bullshit like that in there. I don't know.
Is that a Midwestern thing?
Probably. We put
also are Midwesterners the ones who call it dressing?
Yeah,
I know that there are people who call stuffing dressing.
I don't know that it's like a thing in Michigan. I've heard it referred to as dressing. I can't remember if it was referred to as dressing growing up, but I remember stuffing for the most part.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think there's some of that, right? Or like it's like over like celery heavy, like all like that's not what I'm looking for, right?
I like celery in my stuffing.
Oh, I don't mind it in there, but when it eats more like ants on a log than it does like a like.
Wait, I don't need peanut butter in yours as well.
I don't need it bread pudding, but I also don't need it to like feel like I'm gonna have to floss after, like somewhere in between the two. But yeah, so corn products, dinner rolls, really good dinner rolls. And then the last one is
you did say cranberry sauce in there too.
Well, I'm just saying that that's also included. I was just recapping what you guys talked about that are favorites that I also would put on my honorable mention list. The one thing that I do really miss, so my ex-wife and I used to go over to her cousins, and they used to have this. One would make a turkey and one would make a ham. And yeah, I know ham is more of like an Easter thing, but the way that worked because it was done on the smoker, right? A smoked ham that played really well with that mashed potato and that corn, and you get a little bit of that herbalness of like the stuffing and things like that. I think that might be the more underrated Thanksgiving dish that is not, a contemporary Thanksgiving dish, but a secondary protein in any Thanksgiving meal to me is important.
We did last year both a turkey and a smoked ham. We got the ham from a local barbecue joint. Yeah. And it was amazing. And not enough people, and by not enough I mean almost everyone, didn't have any, and I was so mad. Like, spent $120 on this fucking smoked ham that is delicious and no one's fucking eating it.
This should keep forever. You got lunches for like weeks.
I mean, I did freeze up a good bit of it, because that is one thing I love, a good like just ham sandwich. Just give me some potato bread and mustard and and the ham, and I am a happy camper. Which it's funny you bring up the Hawaiian rolls, because my wife and I were talking about those the other day, and I was like, they are Martin's potato rolls that are just slightly sweeter. I was like, so what's not to like about them from the general consensus?
I wish you could have had my grandma's rolls. I'm gonna not say what you laughed at.
He's a bad person. He's a bad person.
I
look
am.
it up.
On
I
the
really
inside and
am.
out. Yeah, I really wish you could, because like my sister has attempted to make them and she's come close, and I don't know what my grandma did. But my grandma was more consistent in making dinner rolls than Carl's Jr. is at making biscuits. Like it's
It's a lost
The dinner
skill.
roll is a really
lost
like
skill.
lost art thing.
Yeah.
Like there used to be a time, like when we were much younger, you went into most restaurants and you got dinner rolls like presented on your table, and that just doesn't fucking happen anymore. And
Back in my day, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 bees for a quarter, they'd say.
But like, yeah, I feel like dinner rolls is a really like underappreciated thing anymore. And when you do get some really good ones, it's fucking awesome.
You've
like
got just this messy plate of just like leftover gravy and mashed potato
something.
and like 7 kernels of corn and cranberry sauce and like 3 bits of croutons from the stuffing and like anything, and you just wipe it all up. And the best part is when you want to go ahead and you want to make that like that open-faced leftover Thanksgiving sandwich on Black Friday, where you want to put turkey and mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce and corn on top of that.
You make your own gobbler.
Yeah, and you put that right on that same dinner roll that you had. Oh, it's perfect. It's the perfect vehicle for like messy Thanksgiving sliders. Like the next day, it's like the KFC scrape everything into a bowl and call it a meal type of thing, but in a sandwich form. It's perfect. I would say that dinner rolls might be the most. Yeah, let me just be redundant and repetitive. Maybe might be the most underappreciated.
You're doubling down on your passion for this. That's what we get. That's what I take out of this conversation. They might be the most underappreciated. I get it.
Yeah.
Who likes those gobbler style sandwiches that lead up to Thanksgiving, like restaurants or convenience stores or whatever that do like your turkey, gravy, cranberry, mashed potatoes on a sandwich?
One of my favorite local sandwich shops, the Best Sandwich Shop, does the Pilgrim, and they do it year round. And by the way, the Best Sandwich Shop is pretty darn good.
Very good. Very good.
They're
Larry David there. Pretty
good.
See.
I actually featured them very recently on one of our perfect pair food and beer pairings.
Oh, did you? I missed that one.
Yeah, I love it's cranberry sauce, it's a little bit of mayo, it's turkey, it's stuffing. There's no gravy on it, there's no mashed potato on it, but it's a very stripped down, in some ways rudimentary like Thanksgiving dinner. But it's so good. It's so good. And it's all the things you want. It's tart, it's savory, the stuffing aspect of it. I mean, it's just great. So I love it. I love when people do that kind of thing. And if someone will actually go like whole hog and throw all the stuff, if someone starts putting corn in there, if someone starts putting in mashed potato, I'll lose my mind.
So
you guys both said the exact same thing at the exact same time, and that was adorable.
Jinx,
it was almost like you
Coke.
were like sharing the same brain.
I do owe you a Coke.
And
then a silence at the same time. Okay, first of
we
all,
also both said at the same time.
That's the same person.
I'll just jump in real quick.
Well, that's why he's the bot.
When I lived in Philly, we had this bar by us called For Pete's Sake, and my wife and I went in there one night for dinner and drinks, and they had this was like early November. It's cold out, and they had a gobbler style like burger, turkey burger with cranberry sauce and gravy on it. But here's the kicker to me: the bun was made out of stuffing.
Oh,
it was a bun shaped like into stuffing.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best things I've ever had in my fucking life. I still think about it every Thanksgiving season. And I remember the bartender being like, he's like, it's fucking awesome, right? I was like, here's one thing though. One thing that could just make this like die right here, be happy. Instead of put like regular French fries, sweet potato fries. And you just have it all. I know not a lot of people are into the sweet potato fry, and 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna choose regular fries. But man, for the occasion, like the fact that this is a menu item that is only there for like a month and a half, like do those for it. Go all the fuck out on it. I mean, I still think about that burger. Like the best turkey burger I've ever had in my goddamn life, and the bun was the thing that really made it.
No, I get that. So I would completely agree. I think sweet potato fries is the way to go. I was actually going to comment that none of us put yams on our Thanksgiving.
It's weird. I love sweet potatoes, but it's not an important part of Thanksgiving.
Because most of them are done. I don't know. Like I don't need the marshmallow. I don't.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want that. They're sweet enough. Don't put fucking marshmallows in that shit.
And I do like sweet potato fries, but yeah, they do get. So okay, so I love that these are all called the Gobbler because there's a restaurant, a local restaurant chain up here that has always had one of my favorite pizzas, which is a mashed potato pizza. But they do one for Thanksgiving called a Gobbler. That is like a turkey and mashed potato and stuffing pizza that comes with like a cranberry sauce dipping sauce.
Give me that.
It is
all of that.
It is amazing. And so they don't do it year round, right? Because they already have their mashed potato pizza, which is amazing. But yes,
potatoes on pizza highly underrated.
Yeah,
love potatoes on pizza.
Yeah, so they do a mashed potato turkey stuffing turkey pizza with a cranberry dipping sauce. You guys need to just come up here at some point. Like some year, I'll host things. I don't have room here. I've got room for like 5 people. If we all stand, like if you all want to eat Thanksgiving dinner while standing with a paper plate in your hand,
it's good for exercising your core.
Yeah,
so I'm with that.
I'll rent out a hall or something. But
I'm used to just hanging out in a kitchen, standing around a bunch of people, having a beer and eating off of a plate that I'm holding.
But yes, they do this. Again, it's called the Gobbler. They do that Thanksgiving pizza, and I have to tell you, it's like everything I do basically with all the leftovers anyway. But it's on a pizza. It's amazing. Someday you guys will have to come up and try that.
This isn't the pizza place that is like gained world renowned, like the.
No, that's not Rectangle. Rectangle also is amazing. I want to tell you guys, like literally, I think Minnesota might have the most underrated pizza game, in the country. But
I remember when I saw that on that Netflix pizza show, like I was just like, holy fuck, this looks so good. I was like, I'm texting Tim right now. Like, have you ever been to this place?
Yeah. No, I briefly dated a woman who knows the owner, so yeah. But yeah. Come on up for that pizza alone, if nothing else. I'll fly down in an emergency, Kevin, and see you over Thanksgiving, and you can fly up, and we'll do it next year.
I like and by the way, there's a difference between like flying up for like a holiday, but I like the idea of saying like, Allie, we need to go to Minnesota to have this pizza, and her going, what the fuck are you talking about? Kevin, just relax. You've had too many beers.
Well, and then you'll be like, no, just give me a second. Let me just go ahead and get Tim on the phone.
So, Kevin,
and I'll say no. Have several of the beers that I'm having, and you'll feel the same way, and we'll stay intoxicated the entire time, and then we'll eat the pizza, and we'll blow our fucking minds.
Kevin,
yeah.
Your wife seems to usually take a work-related trip at the beginning of November. It seems like every year. At least that I've noticed the past couple of years, because she wasn't here for the boys' birthday last year. And then this year, like around the same time, she took a work trip. I think if that's an annual thing, you should just go to Minnesota and eat pizza on the weekend that she's away, and take Jad and have a trip. And I will accidentally end up in Minneapolis with my family, or at least one of the kids, and we'll just make it a thing.
Wait, did you? Is that your way of saying you lost a kid tonight while your wife is gone?
No, I'm saying that she can keep one of them, and one of them can come with me. We're splitting the difference.
I have like 2 or less kids. I don't know.
I'll bring the more adventurous one with me.
I have up to 2 kids.
And they're in and around that number. Somewhere around the number of 2.
There's a margin of error. There's a
plus or minus 1.
Try different foods, and is usually he's the one who's usually down to do whatever, and then the other one is like, yeah, I'll do it, and then like no, I'm not going to do that thing. Don't come at me with that, Daddy.
I'm gonna
Your
let
children seem very proper, and I like the idea that like,
oh, they're absolutely not.
No, Father, I would not enjoy going to Minnesota to eat pizza. What are you talking about?
So, and again, this might be a reason I'm divorced, but when our daughter was born, I really tried to convince my then wife that we should only speak with a British accent around her, because I thought it would just be brilliant. 2 Midwestern people raising this kid with a British accent. So she gets to like kindergarten, like her first day of kindergarten. And she's like,
and she starts doing the British accent mixed in with the Minnesota accent. And,
well, no, that's just called Cockney. She's like, hello, Austin.
We should all adhere to what Steve Martin said. He said, when you have a child, when they're growing up, talk wrong. And then when they show up to first grade for the first time and they raise their hand, they say, Mammy Ammo dog face with banana patch. We were doing contemporary comedians, so I have to throw that one in there.
No, I appreciate that. Well, I think that's the problem with Elmo is Elmo has taught an entire generation of kids to not know how to speak.
He's also taught a lot of people to hate a rock.
Yeah, well, Elmo, like Sesame Street went down when Jim Henson died. I swear to God, Elmo wouldn't have such a prominent voice if that guy was still alive.
Did we get off on a thing?
Yeah. Okay. So I think unless anyone else has anything to say about Thanksgiving meals, let's head into last call. The point in time where we give each other an unspecific amount of time to talk about whatever it is that we want, beverage related or not. The only rules are that it is uninterrupted, unopposed, unobjected. And for this, we'll start with Tim.
Actually, gonna just keep it the theme, guys. I've been having a rough go of things. I am not going to lie. I've made no kind of, I've not hidden that I have mental health issues. I tend to feel emotions deeply. My anxiety gets out of control. My depression gets out of control. It affects my ability to have healthy relationships with my friends. Everyone, including the folks in this podcast, have had to deal with my emotional issues, and it's been rough. But what I love about these 2 gentlemen is that they give me something to look forward to. I don't ever once sigh or regret a night, or dread a night where we get to hang out and talk. And I know Eric Hild and Kevin's dad, I'm glad you 2 are listening. The reality is, it is something that for me, I frankly wish that we just had more time on our busy adult schedules. Because every Wednesday I'm not on this podcast, I'm at my therapist, and I kind of feel like what that really means is that every Wednesday I'm in therapy. They're just two different kinds of therapy, and what these two gentlemen do for me in terms of my mental health, what they put up with, what they've listened to, how much they make me laugh, how much they've kind of accepted me into this weird world of a podcast I shouldn't have had any reason to be a co-host on in the first place. It's kind of what I said last time about like enjoying the things that are around you. Like just understanding that there are these kind of little tiny people. I'm not calling them tiny people, but these tiny. I mean, I'm 5'6", so I'm the tiniest. But these people in your life that maybe aren't coinciding with you at all times, but what they do for you, uh, just recognize the people that bring the little joys to you, because those little joys actually mean big volumes for you. So while I've been struggling greatly with my depression and my mental health recently, it has not been great. It's caused a lot of problems in my life. I'm so grateful that I get to have reasons to look forward to this. Man, talking to Neil last time was awesome. That was so much fun. That dude just, it's so weird how much I've gotten to know that guy and how good it is. And to be able to just spend a night like this with these two yahoos, I know this is about gratitude, but for me, I was thinking about this leading up to the nights, because we didn't know what we were going to talk about until, I don't know, like 3 seconds before we got on. The reality is I didn't care, not because I don't care what we talk about, but because the only thing I was looking forward to was being able to do this podcast. So, yeah, just appreciate the little things, guys. Everyone, just understand that the people that are out there, right? Like if I'm gonna get a YouTube comment that says "Will said Tim" and I don't know what it was in reference to, that's gonna make me feel good. Uh, uh, if no one else is listening, but I got to spend, a couple hours being a jackass, with these two, awesome. That's what I need in my life. So just keep focused. I guess that's what I would say.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Tim.
Yeah, and you can actually even respond. I don't care.
I appreciate you being so open about that. Kevin?
So I know this. We're going to do an episode that is like directly related to Christmas. Apparently, we're going to do one more episode later on the year. But Christmas is one of my favorite times of year, and I believe that the entire world has experienced Christmas creep. So I'm going to give all of you listening 4 songs that are imperative to your Christmas playlists, because you have to start listening to them now, because when you walk into a chain restaurant, they've been playing Christmas music since like October 31st. I think like during Halloween, halfway through the day, they started playing Christmas music. So here are the 4 songs. And listen, I love Christmas. A lot of people think that I'm a kind of a cynical person that doesn't enjoy the frivolity of Christmas. No, I love Here Comes Santa Claus. I love Frosty the Snowman. I love everything about Christmas. It's one of my favorite times of year. But 4 songs that are imperative, that are so important to me every single year around Christmas, are as follows. Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues. Just hopeful and desperate and beautiful in a dirty sort of way. Something that's not Christmas in the traditional sense, but still absolutely amazing and important. Merry Xmas, The War is Over by John Lennon. There is a real sense of pain and suffering about the world, but hopefulness at the same time. That song is everything to me. I could listen to that song at any time of the year and feel something about the world and about where my place is in it. Christmas Time in Washington by Steve Earle. That's probably the most esoteric of the songs that I'm going to mention. Maybe the last one might even be more so. But Steve Earle is an amazing artist. And this song name checks Woody Guthrie and Martin Luther King and anyone suffering from the hangover from the recent election could listen to that song and find both sadness and hope for the future. It's a really important song for me. And the last one is White Wine in the Sun by Tim Minchin. Tim Minchin, a comedian who, I mean, if you don't know Tim Minchin, just Google Tim Minchin. Everything the man has done is brilliant. But White Wine in the Sun is anti-capitalism, anti-God, but pro-Christmas in the most perfect way that any song ever has been. I don't want to spoil anything for you. Just listen to that song. And the spirit of Christmas is involved in that song, for me at least, in every part of it. So those are 4 songs that are essential parts of my Christmas playlist, a season that I love, that means everything to me to share with my family. And each one of those songs transcends that idea in a very important way for me.
It's hard not to respond to that.
Well, it is because also mine is basically a piggybacking, not talking about specific songs, but talking about, and I feel like I've done this last call before, but I feel like it's relevant every year around this time, of being a non-religious person who loves Christmas. And like, I forgot about the Tim Minchin thing. Like, you're the one who introduced me to Tim Minchin, Kevin.
Tim just texted me that he saw him live.
Like
oh
4
my
months ago.
God, he's one of my heroes. Like absolute, like Mount Rushmore heroes. He's one of the best.
Like maybe, I don't know, 15 rows back.
Holy shit, that's amazing, man.
Yeah,
I love that guy, man.
You also saw, was it a Hedberg tribute show, or was it Hedberg that was like Dave Attell and?
So like, it was right after Mitch passed away from an overdose. So they had the Mitch Hedberg tribute show. It had Dave Attell, Mike Birbiglia, Rich Voss, Doug Benson, Jim Gaffigan. Trying to think who else was that. Patton Oswalt. Like, it was this murderer's row.
You sent me the flyer to it. Like, I was like, what the fuck?
I know. I lost that between my moves. Like, it's probably still, like, my ex-wife probably still has it hanging up on her wall. But it was literally like this murderer's row of comedians that all came to do like this one night only set to give tribute to him here in Minneapolis, since he's from here, right? It best night of comedy my entire life, and I framed the poster, and I've lost it since my divorce, and it makes me very sad. But it was the best thing. But yes, I did also. I texted it to you because I'm not supposed to interrupt on the podcast. I'm not supposed to respond.
But no, that dude, I'm gonna lose my mind over that. Like, Minchin means everything to me. So I thank you for sharing that.
Well, and the whole thing was like, he wasn't doing comedy; he was doing music.
Yeah, no, he's incredible.
There was no eyeliner. Right?
Oh, okay.
It was just straight up him talking, and it was maybe like, he was so vulnerable. It's weird to be at a show where you feel heard, right? you're an audience member and you feel heard. You're not supposed to feel heard as an audience member. That's what he did, and it was also, dude. That I don't play piano well, but even like really good piano players should be ashamed because he's also just fucking fantastic at that. And the way the man crafts a song. Jesus Christ, this last call has gone off the rails.
And Mike still needs to go.
Yeah. It's my main thing is just that, like, I don't care if you think that people like me are trying to take the Christ out of Christmas. I've never once tried to replace Christmas with happy holidays or anything like that, because I love Christmas and I don't think that it necessarily has to have anything to do with Christmas or with Christ at the same time. Like, two things can be right at the same time. Like, for you, if you want to make it a religious thing, that's fine, but I choose not to, and I choose to take some of the commercialism of it and rope it into my own personal beliefs, and just try to make a wonderful time of the year. I love Christmas music. I like, without trying to just like stomp on stuff. There's like songs in there that Kevin said that I don't even know, but like, I love a lot of your bangers, like Rocking Around the Christmas Tree and like Last Christmas, and you know what, give me a few Mariah Careys in there too. I also really enjoy O Tenenbaum, the whole Peanuts soundtrack to that. I think that that's great for a Christmas party atmosphere. My boys are so fucking thrilled about Christmas. Like, they were excited about Halloween, which is my wife's favorite holiday. And I don't think that they truly understood Halloween until we went trick-or-treating, because this was their first year ever going trick-or-treating, and they were like, oh, sweet, we got candy out of this. But almost like during Halloween, they were like, is it Christmas time yet? And I felt so bad for my wife, because you could tell she's like trying to get them so hyped on Halloween. And like, no, it's Halloween, then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas. And they really enjoyed Halloween once they did it. But then like the next day, like, so we get a Christmas tree now? Like, not yet, guys. And as we've been getting closer to Thanksgiving, we've told them, okay, day after Thanksgiving, we'll go get a Christmas tree. I would rather get it on the Saturday after, but that's beyond the point. My kids are so stoked on Christmas. We've gotten Christmas ornaments and stuff from, there's a year-round Christmas store by us called Christmas Etc. That is fucking awesome. You should go to it if you are in the West Palm Beach area. It is a huge place filled with vintage ornaments, the little towns and train sets and stuff that all for sale. It's not cheap, but holy fuck, it's awesome in there. But my kids are so stoked on Christmas, and I am. They were into it big last year, and they're even more into it this year. And Kevin had told me, like, 3, wait till 3, and they are 3 now, and you're goddamn right, they are just Christmas like aholics. And I'm so looking forward to this Christmas season as a atheist who doesn't believe in any sort of God. Christmas is my favorite season, and I am stoked. So, Merry Christmas to all of you. Looking forward to doing a Christmas episode in a couple weeks. But yeah, anyone want to plug anything? Kevin?
Me? Do I ever plug anything? There's a
brewery you sometimes talk about called Barrel of Monks. Barrel of Monkeys.
Yeah, that's what most people that try to sell us things call it, and it's somewhat embarrassing for me and them. But go to our YouTube channel and see if you're interested in food and beer pairings. I've been doing these for about 6 months now, maybe a little bit longer. The Perfect Pair is what it's called. It's food and beer pairings. They're all restaurants in South Florida. And I know a lot of people that are listening to this don't live in South Florida, but they're interesting because I'm talking about food and beer pairings that are universal. I try to talk about not just our beers, but other people's beers as well. And I just really appreciate if you're interested in food and beer pairings to go to our YouTube channel, give us a like and a follow, because there's something I'm very passionate about, and I really appreciate when people engage with that content.
Nice. Tim?
So I have a friend who has a brewery that's not a nationally, distributed brewery. But I think they're making really great beer, and I'm really proud of what they're doing. So if you could go ahead and check out Barrel of Monks, I would really appreciate what they're doing. I think it's some fantastic stuff. I've been lucky enough to have some of their beer. Also, one of the owners is kind of an asshole, but he was doing this whole old favorite Friday thing for a while, and that was fun. But if you could go ahead and do me a favor, I would really appreciate that.
The sell that you have on that, Tim, is so much better than mine, and you're so much more likable. I think I should employ you to do this.
Hey, he's a freelance voice actor. He can do some commercials, some jingles. We'll get Tim Minchin to write the music. You can't afford it. We'll try to pool our resources on that one.
Yeah, you can afford Tim Jensen.
I like the idea that people are like, oh, Tim actually likes Kevin and thinks that someone should engage in his content. Maybe I should do that. I think that's an interesting concept.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, don't worry. Someday you'll get your dad's love, Kevin. It's fine.
That's never been in question.
I know, he's a great man.
So I deactivated my Twitter account last week because of fuck Elon Musk, and not just the shit that he did, but also the fact that every Twitter account that was active as of last Friday when we recorded this, the 15th, was automatically submitting themselves for use in the AI shit. So fuck you. I deactivated my Twitter account, and actually the amount of people who have fucking gone over to Blue Sky is incredible. I feel like it's reminding me of early days Twitter over there. Like, there's no algorithm feed. It is chronological following. There's a bunch of the beer people over there. It's really fun right now. So if you want to follow me over there at Mike Loves Beer, let's get fucking involved. Dave Berg's been sharing fucking awesome stuff about August Shell that I've been really enjoying following along on, like little facts about the stuff. Like, he's doing a great job of that. But yeah, I've also closed off the brewery's Twitter, or not the brewery. I could, but I'm not going to. I closed off the podcast's Twitter account too. So fuck that place. You can find us over on. We're still on Instagram at United We Drink Pod. That's Threads as well at United We Drink on Blue Sky. We're on Facebook as well. Other than that, you want to support the show financially and those wonderful money ways, capitalism. We have our website, unitedwedrink.com. Go to the Brands We Love page. We have stuff like Trade Coffee, Flavier. If you want to get your boozy advent calendar in before the start of Advent. Also, they just have awesome whiskey box sets that are great gifts as well. Made in Cookware. Who doesn't love some great freaking cookware as a Christmas gift? All that, you buy something through those links and we get a little kickback. That's That's a great thing. Also have our web store, weedrink.com/store for shirts, buttons, stickers, and all of that fun stuff. Other than that, we'll be back in a couple weeks for our final episode of 2024. It is 2024, right? Because God, I wish it was 4 more years, but yeah, here we fucking go. Oh God, why do I have to end it on that type of note?
No, do it, Mike. Do it.
I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Spend some time with some family. Don't get into too many arguments. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Cheers.
Cheers. We love you all.
I am a robot.